When you're talking about, these terms that are used, tamper-proof, timestamp, near real time, etc., these are things that should resonate with us as being important, to how to what we want in a system. And so when I first started to learn, more about blockchain, it's not, I'm not trying to be, one of these people that say, blockchain or bust, right? To me, it presents an opportunity and a solution that I think is really interesting, and one that I think, we as an industry should be looking at a lot more. We had, the fortune of having UCLA involved there to kind of present it from the site perspective. And one of the things that they really brought to our attention is they kind of said, look, what we struggle with is just understanding what is coming to us on a given day, and from which sponsor, when is it coming. So it was kind of focusing on that last mile of, after manufacturing and, pack label, the point of distribution, getting clarity for the site as to what was coming in and from who. The pharmacists were super engaged in this entire pilot. They gave direct feedback about, how this would be worthwhile to them. And that for us kind of cemented that, okay, this is something that we need to continue to look into.
Today, when sites are required to use IRT systems, generally those sites are training an individual, maybe two, in those systems. And they're actually logging into those systems maybe once a day, maybe every couple of days. When we have these real-time connections, as they scan a product in at the loading dock, we immediately get that information. So all this moves much more quickly. And just as importantly, we feed that back to the IRT as soon as we receive it.
And I think what we really saw during the kit chain demo and use with Biogen, if you think about site burden and from receipt to reporting to auditing, the goal here is to reduce the amount of time that the pharmacist has to spend receiving the inventory. There's value in the technology that's being used, but from a financial perspective, all of the parties are getting the same information in a real-time fashion.
We'll talk, and we'll continue to talk about the value that this is presenting to each of the parties that's interacting with the system, whether it be the sponsor, CMO, CRO, sites. The patient figures into this as well. There's a version of the app that'll be made available to the patient to log that they've received it. And in good condition, do they need to return, and so on. But the real important aspect of this to the patient is something that they'll never see. There will always be a product available for them when they come into a site. For the most part, the sponsors are driving this. We do offer it out as a capability out of IQVIA as well, though we don't expect that to be the primary way in which it gets sold. Primarily, we expect the sponsors are going to be interested, largely right now around the ability to reduce burden at the sites, but also the ability to better control complex studies.
There's going to be actually, I feel like, a lot of burden that's going to be placed on sites because they have to coordinate, not only receiving the medication, but now, in cases where patients are at home, they're often the center point of coordinating, the patient and when delivery is going to be there. A solution like KitChain is needed, for these type of complex environments that we're navigating, because, how are we going to be able to see all this information and in which system? This was really our first practical, entry point into this world. So no, it was really at the kit level. Hopefully I'll be back here next year and the year after, kind of, with the KitChain team expanding on how we've developed this.